Rodriguez in?
Yeah, Ditch Rodriguez was a familiar role for her. 22-21 tally. A tally with a very slight lead.
Get more radiant and healthy-looking skin with skincare serums from Dove Radiant Care Serum Bars, made with advanced skincare ingredients. Dove.
This song isn't funny at all, but it helps me sleep at night. Art is dead, art is dead, art is dead, art is dead. Entertainers like to seem complicated, but we're not complicated. I can explain it pretty easily. Have you ever been to a birthday party for children, and one of the children won't stop screaming because he's just a little attention attractor? When he grows up to be a comic or actor, he'll be rewarded for never maturing, for never understanding or learning that every day can't be about him. There's other people, you selfish asshole. I must be psychotic, I must be demented to think that I'm worthy of all this attention, of all of this money you worked really hard for. I slept in late while you worked at the drugstore. My drug's attention, I am an addict, but I get paid to indulge in my habit. It's all an illusion. I'm wearing makeup, I'm wearing makeup, 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 makeup. Art is dead, so people think you're funny. How do we get those people's money? I said our art is dead. We're rolling in dough while Carlin rolls in his grave, his grave, his grave. I said the show has got a budget, the show has got a budget, and all the poor people way more deserving of the money won't budget, cause I wanted my name in lights when I could have fed a family of four for 40 fucking fortnights. 40 fucking fortnights. I am an artist, please God forgive me. I am an artist, please don't revere me. I am an artist, please don't respect me. I am an artist, feel free to correct me. A self-centered artist, self-obsessed artist. I am an artist, I am an artist, but I'm just a kid, I'm just a kid, I'm just a kid, and maybe I'll grow out of it.
To start off this video, for those of you who do not know the context of the situation, Skeletal Shenanigans by Yo Reed is now the most popular medium demon in the game, and content creator Wabu decided that they were going to make an extension, an 8-minute long extension of the level. There's a lot of things that we found out before we even saw the level in full, but the main thing of note is that the level had a budget of $100,000. This budget primarily came from the fact that the decorators were being paid a proper job level wage, meaning they were being paid hourly for their work. Combine that with the fact that he paid an artist to extend the song, which, by the way, from my research, it's not even the creators of the original song. It's some guy that makes, like, J-pop stuff, which I couldn't even find any information on this song artist, whatever. But he paid someone to make an extended version of the song, because the song's not even 8 minutes long, and then combine that with the fact that they are distributing and selling plushies, and they are planning on doing global localized advertising in places like Japan, which... is all that even really fucking necessary? Like, let's just stop for a moment and talk about this. Like, any passionate artist would assume that their art can stand on two legs and would just put their art out there, maybe with a bit of advertising, and just assume that it's good and people will gravitate to it, because passionate artists tend to believe in the art that they create. If you do not believe in the art you create, and you're just a soulless capitalist trying to profit off of the hard work and community other people tend to build up, then you end up doing weird capitalist methods of milking the fuck out of whatever piece of art you are creating. If I can compare it to anything, what Wabu's doing with this level reminds me a lot of modern Pixar and how they handle their movies, where the movies are no longer about the movies, it's about the fucking toy sales. And would you look at that, Skeletal Shenanigans has plushies. It really is very similar to Pixar movies in a lot of ways. You spend an obscene amount of money money to make a piece of art that nobody asked for and then merchandise the hell out of it to hopefully get some form of profit back. This is an obscene amount of money to spend on a Geometry-Dash level, and it is nothing more than a publicity stunt. This is just to get attention. Only problem is, it's also a very risky move, because if you can't make the money back, you wasted $100,000 fucking dollars. Because of that, you would expect this to be one of the most grandiose and best projects the GD community has ever seen. For this level to be profitable, it would have to be the best level in the entirety of the game. And I'm sorry to say, but Wabu dropped the fucking ball. This might actually be one of the worst extensions I've ever seen, one of the worst attempts at anything really in this community I've ever seen. This level is a flaming pile of garbage. It has issues that seem small but accumulate to make this level a clusterfuck of problems. Some of those problems could be forgiven if this was a genuine art project made out of passion by a couple smaller content creators. However, because this is basically the equivalent of a capitalist business venture, they are way less forgivable. What's crazy is that the quality of the decoration isn't even the problem here, it's just how badly managed this project is. The level's bad because of Wabu. All of the decorators did a fantastic job here, they just had a shit hand that they were dealt. And it's because of that I want to clarify right off the bat that in terms of raw skill, the decorators did a really good job on this level, and while I will be shitting on the decoration, it's not because of the quality of it. The decoration is purely made by passionate people who were just, you know, trying to make that bag and took the chance that they could. However, as you've probably heard a million times by now, a mega collab will not be good no matter how skilled your decorators are if it has bad direction and it is badly handled. If the host of the collab does not handle the collab well, the collab will turn out like garbage, and that's exactly what happened here. But let's just break this down step by step, because I'm clearly getting ahead of myself. Let's break this level down bit by bit and explain exactly what's wrong with it. What's wrong with it? So on the topic of this level, in several comments and in different Blue Sky posts that I've made, I have actually echoed the opinion that the idea of extending skeletal shenanigans is not inherently bad. At its core, skeletal shenanigans theming is basically you breaking into a castle with some spooky skeletons and stealing this gem, and I feel like if you took the approach of making the level a travel level and letting you explore the set pieces a bit more, it could actually be pretty good. If the approach was basically just to give us an idea of what the world is like and build off of it and build a sort of atmosphere, this could have been done really well. I don't know if 8 minutes is feasible, but I definitely think you could have made a good extension out of the level. If this level went with the method that a lot of Rob Top full levels do and just sort of intersperse bits of the original level into unique gameplay, this could have actually been pretty cool. So what does Skeletal Extremigans do? Well, it makes you play the original Skeletal Shenanigans, unmodified, unchanged in any way, shape, or form, and then just keeps going after that. Right off the bat, this is immediately a failure on Wabu's part, because this just shows that all he wanted to do was take Skeletal Shenanigans and make it longer. He had no care for the actual world he's building, the set pieces, he had no care for really any of it. He just wanted Skeletal Shenanigans but more, because he wanted views. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking hearing that. That seems a bit harsh. How do I know that it's just for views? How do I know that this was just an arbitrary making the level longer? Maybe all of the content added after Skeletal Shenanigans is legitimately good and had a lot of effort put into it. Well, rules of death of the author, let's analyze this level on its own merit. A lot of my complaints in this review are gonna boil down to the fact that this level is worse than Skeletal Shenanigans, and trust me, we will get there. However, I need to dedicate an entire segment of this review video talking about just how fucking derivative the extension is. A majority of this level's gameplay, decoration, aesthetics, even progression can just be directly compared to the original level it is taking from. If I put shots side by side of Skeletal Extremigans and Skeletal Shenanigans, you can just see things the level just directly ripped off. But what's funny is that anytime you see a section in Skeletal Extremigans that is comparable to a part in Skeletal Shenanigans, the one in Skeletal Extremigans universally always looks worse. But we'll get back to that, because again, I will get to the decoration. For now, what I want to focus on is the fact that because every single thing in the extension can just be directly compared to the original level, this ends up feeling like the original level over and over and over and over again. It doesn't feel like you're seeing more of Skeletal Shenanigans, it feels like you're seeing Skeletal Shenanigans again. It's like the John Mulaney skit where he went and played What's New Pussycat on the jukebox over and over and over to drive people in the restaurant insane, except instead of it being the song What's New Pussycat, it's the level Skeletal Shenanigans. That's what this shit feels like. There is one singular part that is exempt from this, and that's the break part in the 40s, which is a part that I actually really like. I want to call attention to this because it shows what this level could have been. You have this serene moment where the level calms down, the music quiets down, and you get this atmospheric moment where you arrive on a raft out of the water and you cross this bridge slowly, and it's clear something's wrong, but it's just calm, it's peaceful, and this is a legitimately pretty moment and one of the only good parts to come out of the level. But the fact it's here doesn't really make me happy, it makes me more angry than anything, because it shows what the level could have been. If we got more moments like this interspersed with parts from Skeletal Shenanigans, again, going back to the travel level idea, this could have been really cool and really atmospheric. But instead, we get this. Why the fuck are we on the moon? And I don't just mean that because it doesn't make sense in the level, although it doesn't. Didn't the moon get fucking eaten? How are we here? Hey everyone, Not the Knee Scared Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so jokes aside, I really do want to talk about the song for a second because it's really bad. The extension is basically the original song, but with some extra instruments added onto it, and it's very jarring. They introduces a bunch of big band elements like dramatic vocals and violin, and most perplexingly, the same exact violin sound that you would have heard in Flame Wall by Camellia. Like, when I was first watching the level, I honestly thought that the song was just gonna suddenly become Flame Wall, because it just, why? But what's odd is, yeah, the song is basically using these big band epic version instruments that really do not fit with the aesthetic of the level, but those instruments are still over the original song's backbeat, which is basically looping the entire fucking time. So what you basically get is a shitty imitation of a Hans Zimmer score playing over like a chugging synth backbeat, and it's very, very bizarre. Even though I am not accusing it of being AI, and I'm more just likening it to it in quality, I want to be very clear, I am not saying this was made with AI. But in terms of quality, this reminds me of those YouTube videos where someone will attempt to extend the drop of a dubstep song using AI. It's just odd how the song just slowly loses the plot the farther in you get. And now that I say that out loud, so too does the progression of the level, so I guess in that way, they're similar. Both in terms of structuring and the song, it just feels like the longer it goes on, the less it feels like Skeletal Shenanigans. Until the end of it, it basically just sounds like a fucking Dark Souls boss theme playing over Skeletal Shenanigans backbeat synth, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Now, as I said earlier, the decorators are clearly talented, and it shows when you look at this level, ignoring the context of it. The decoration is high quality, it's well made, and you can definitely tell that the decorators put effort into this. However, due to a mixture of bad hosting combined with the fact that these are just different decorators than the people who worked on Skeletal Shenanigans, the level's quality is incredibly mixed, and the decoration ends up looking really, really bad in the context of a Skeletal Shenanigans extension. As an example, during the extension, we get more Skeletal Shenanigans boss fights, and while they're completely derivative of the original boss fight, I already kind of mentioned how that was the case before, so I'm not going to focus on that. What I'm instead going to focus on is the fact that the animation quality of these two bosses is so much worse than the one in the Skeletal Shenanigans part. Not only is the frame rate significantly lower and choppier, but on top of that, it feels like the character will straight up teleport from one position to another. It's like there's missing frames in the animation, so it'll just snap into place. It looks really awful. The movements are way less smooth, and there's a sort of uncanny valley feeling to it that makes it look really, really out of place. There's visual bugs everywhere. Some things will just pop into existence. On the part where you get shot out of a cannon for a second time and you're shot into the moon, which, again, I already mentioned how derivative it is, but that's not what we're focusing on. In the second cannon shot, if you look closely, you can just see the bubble that surrounds the player just fly up into place. At 82%, one of the skeletons is shrinking and growing in size for no fucking reason. And why the fuck do a bunch of skeletons just flip as if it's a Paper Mario character? It looks so fucking bad. Now, am I nitpicking? Yes, obviously, but it's kind of fair to when you consider, again, that this level had a budget of $100,000 fucking dollars. You'd think issues like this would be ironed out. I compared this level to modern Pixar films earlier, but in reality, it more closely resembles Lion King 2019 in the sense that there's animation errors fucking everywhere. But the worst looking part is the part with the blue skeleton, or as I'm gonna call him, Mr. Blue Balls. There are parts where Mr. Blue Balls over here just fucking stops moving and drags like locked to player X. It is so fucking bad. The part where his head sort of dips down and there's a bunch of skeletons standing on top of him, he just stops being alive. His sentience is fucking gone. These issues could, in theory, be excused if this level was more original, but with how derivative it is, all you really have to latch onto is how good it looks. But really, beyond the surface level of creators have talent, it just feels misguided. It is yet another example of a badly hosted mega collab, and for a $100,000 Geometry Dash level to be just another badly hosted mega collab, that is infuriating.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it! Aw, dang it!
This is one of the very few things I've ever seen where death of the author as a concept does not work. I actually have to acknowledge the creator of the level, or more accurately, the host, and I have to acknowledge the circumstances around the level's creation. I cannot just look at the level as an individual piece of art. Maybe if the level was good and actually stood up on its own, then I could, but instead I have a soulless husk where all it does is just generate Wabu money. On that note, though, I would like to answer a genuine question a lot of people have, and that's what makes this different from stuff like Mindcap creating a $10,000 bounty to get Heliopolis verified? Well, to put it quite simply, it's capitalism. It is stepping on other people and their community to grow your own business. That is what makes this different. The big thing that sucks about capitalism is that you're effectively just stepping on the little guy and demolishing any sort of chance that they could create anything of their own and distribute it, and this effectively kills art. To put this more simply, by being capitalistic like this and making something purely for profit, you are in turn making something with the purpose of taking from the community rather than giving. Wabu's little publicity stunt here is doing nothing but taking from the GD community. It's taking our money, it's taking our time, and it's taking our art. This does nothing but harm the community. The reason why this feels so wrong, but things like the $10,000 Heliopolis bounty don't, is because that bounty is meant to give to the community. By putting that bounty up, Heliopolis will eventually get verified and it'll be a level for the community. Heliopolis does not exist to serve Mindcap, it exists to give us something. Skeletal Extremigans is basically just a shitty fucking advertisement for Wabu's shitty fucking Wabubu NFT looking fucking bastards. This is why, even though it's uncommon, a lot of people have had the opinion that they could forgive the insane fucking price tag this level has if the level was just simply good and they liked it, or at least a decent amount of people liked it, because then at least Wabu would be paying to make something that people liked. But you can't do that if you are thinking about yourself. And the problem with this level's price tag of $100,000 fucking dollars is that you gotta make your money back somehow, which means no matter what, this level is going to always exist to make Wabu money. And that's not even mentioning the fact that these stupid-ass Wabubus were meant to be fucking gambled for. Wabu is attempting to sell gambling to children. Or I guess not anymore, because now I guess you can buy them directly, but for an inflated price. I don't fucking know what he's doing anymore. Funny thing too, I was planning on actually buying one of these plushies for this video, because I was gonna talk about whether or not the plushie was well made. I was basically gonna review the plushie, and it was gonna be a whole bit, but I can't, because the website doesn't fucking work. When I click the pre-order button, the whole website crashes. Alright, if I'm gonna get any of these, I'm gonna get the... I think this is the coolest one, even though it just looks like two fucking fire emojis. Like, oh, okay, it's cool, it's fire, I'll get this one. Let's do the thing here, I guess. Go. Pre-order. Okay. No fucking way, dude. No fucking way. Stop. It crashed. What the fuck, dude? And the fucking smiley is stuck to my mouse. And I can't even buy one. Like, if I wanted to. I can't even do it for the bit. It doesn't work. The site just doesn't work. This project is so fucking infuriating to me. Like, the video dropped the other day while I was at work, and I watched it on my lunch break, and it ruined my entire goddamn day. My disappointment was immeasurable, and my whole fucking day was ruined. But yeah, this level just makes me angry. I wanted to make a video on this, and quite frankly, I had more stuff to say, but I think I've made my point. I am going to say this level is my very first 0 out of 10. I think it's my first 0 out of 10. Whatever, if it's not cool, but this level is a flat fucking 0 out of 10. It does not deserve any recognition. This level does not deserve any of your time, and Rob Top, if you have any goddamn integrity, you will not rate this piece of fucking garbage.
Visit European Chocolate Haven with Lava Cake Chocolate by Lemon Square.
Howdy guys! So, you've probably heard about Wabu's release trailer for Skeletal Extremigans, an 8-minute extension following the meteoric popularity of Skeletal Shenanigans. You've probably also heard about the community response to this project, which was a resounding ew. To say that nobody likes this is a massive understatement. Honestly, I've been hemming and hawing about making this video at all, because I share basically the same opinion as everyone else on this. So what's the point, right? Still, I feel like the ongoing conversation surrounding this incident doesn't really address the core issue for me. The reason this is such an atrocious development for our community and how we let it get to this point are important aspects to understand, but under-discussed. Skeletal Extremigans represents the death of artistry, but it is not an unexpected turn of events. Before I get into all that though, I should first lay out the baseline context, just so we're all on the same page. You might know Wabu from one of his greatest hits, 83 Geometry Dash build hacks, which was such a baffling and confused compilation of unhelpful creator tips that it became a community-wide laughingstock. You can tell from watching the video that Wabu has no clue what he's talking about. He's not a skilled creator by any means. and doesn't have the expertise to understand what really goes into making a level. So he just approached some creators and asked them for some tips for him to put into the video, which are poorly communicated at best and completely bastardized at worst. Wabu doesn't know how to make levels, but he made this video anyway because he felt it would make for good content. These tips are all over the place and are useful to nobody. Aspiring creators will be left more confused than before they watched the video, but all of that is inconsequential to the goal of Wabu building his brand and earning money from it. He's not providing anything of value to the community here, and he doesn't care to. After the fact, someone who actually knows what they're talking about had to step in and correct the record. This was my one and only exposure to Wabu's content up until now, and it firmly cemented Wabu as a worthless GD slop channel. Not a great first impression, to say the least. At first, I did not watch the Skeletal Extremigans trailer because you frankly couldn't engineer a less appealing title and thumbnail combination if you tried. I usually try to avoid content that treats my attention as a commodity as a matter of self-care, even if I do have my off days. I'm not perfect. Either way, it didn't take long for me to catch wind of people talking about the $115,000 budget of this level, so I had to verify this for myself. And even when I was confronted with the proof, I still had a hard time believing it. $115,000. That is a life-changing amount of money. I think for a lot of people in this community, seeing this number proudly displayed in the level activated a reflexive disgust response, and I share that feeling wholeheartedly. Like, there's just something inherently revolting about this much money being spent on a single Geometry Dash level. Besides, a significant portion of that money went to developing an assortment of collectible plushies based on the characters in the level, which you could purchase via a loot box system complete with different rarities. Because of course, everything needs to be fucking gambling nowadays. Best introduce the children as quickly as possible. How responsible of you, Wabu. Such a good role model for this community. Of course, people let their opinions known in the comments, and this preview generated so much backlash so quickly that Wabu was forced to private the video in the hopes that this will all blow over. Well, not if I have anything to say about it. It's not surprising that the trailer was taken down, considering all the bad publicity it was generating, but what's interesting about this is that Wabu has unprivated it again, after doing some community outreach. He answered some questions on Discord and did an interview with Secret Way, giving me the opportunity to delve into the way Wabu talks about this level, which I think is pertinent because it reveals a lot about his character and underlying motivations. First of all, let's investigate the reason Wabu took down the trailer to begin with. When asked about that, this is the answer he gave. Apparently, he took it down because people were posting comments about Israel and Gaza, after the project received a lot of hate and threats on Twitter. Now, my first instinct was honestly to call him a liar for this, because I remember looking at the video before it was privated, and I saw none of these comments. When you go back to the video now, you will also find exactly 0 of those comments. I investigated Twitter as well, and while I did find a lot of people clowning on him, I didn't find anything remotely resembling a threat. However, I asked some other people about this to be sure, and they told me they did see some of those comments on the video before it was privated, and I'm inclined to trust them. On top of that, there is this incredibly unfunny parody video equating the level to Israel. With that in mind, it just seems more likely to me that Wabu deleted those so quickly that Wabu was forced to private the video in the hopes that this will all blow over. Well, not if I have anything to say about it. It's not surprising that the trailer was taken down, considering all the bad publicity it was generating, but what's interesting about this is that Wabu has unprivated it again, after doing some community outreach. He answered some questions on Discord and did an interview with Secret Way, giving me the opportunity to delve into the way Wabu talks about this level, which I think is pertinent because it reveals a lot about his character and underlying motivations. First of all, let's investigate the reason Wabu took down the trailer to begin with. When asked about that, this is the answer he gave. Apparently, he took it down because people were posting comments about Israel and Gaza, after the project received a lot of hate and threats on Twitter. Now, my first instinct was honestly to call him a liar for this, because I remember looking at the video before it was privated, and I saw none of these comments. When you go back to the video now, you will also find exactly 0 of those comments. I investigated Twitter as well, and while I did find a lot of people clowning on him, I didn't find anything remotely resembling a threat. However, I asked some other people about this to be sure, and they told me they did see some of those comments on the video before it was privated, and I'm inclined to trust them. On top of that, there is this incredibly unfunny parody video equating the level to Israel. With that in mind, it just seems was forced to private the video in the hopes that this will all blow over. Well, not if I have anything to say about it. It's not surprising that the trailer was taken down, considering all the bad publicity it was generating, but what's interesting about this is that Wabu has unprivated it again, after doing some community outreach. He answered some questions on Discord and did an interview with Secret Way, giving me the opportunity to delve into the way Wabu talks about this level, which I think is pertinent because it reveals a lot about his character and underlying motivations. First of all, let's investigate the reason Wabu took down the trailer to begin with. When asked about that, this is the answer he gave. Apparently, he took it down because people were posting comments about Israel and Gaza, after the project received a lot of hate and threats on Twitter. Now, my first instinct was honestly to call him a liar for this, because I remember looking at the video before it was privated, and I saw none of these comments. When you go back to the video now, you will also find exactly 0 of those comments. I investigated Twitter as well, and while I did find a lot of people clowning on him, I didn't find anything remotely resembling a threat. However, I asked some other people about this to be sure, and they told me they did see some of those comments on the video before it was privated. And I'm inclined to trust them. On top of that, there is this incredibly unfunny parody video equating the level to Israel. With that in mind, it just seems more likely to me that Wabu deleted those comments rather than nobody leaving a comment like that to begin with. So, you know, upon closer inspection, I'm inclined to believe him. He's probably embellishing the truth, and it should be mentioned that the reason he probably cares about these comments about Israel is not that he thinks it's morally abhorrent or anything, but that this association would hurt his brand. But the more I see Wabu speak, the more I feel like he's generally an honest person to a fault, which becomes a huge liability for him in the interview. Before we talk about this interview, though, I need to briefly talk about the host, Benkar. This is not a video about Secret Way, so I'm not going to do a deep dive here, but it seems he was kicked from the channel after a controversy involving FNM04. I don't really have the patience to do any research on this because it really isn't relevant to the video, but it means the interview I'm referencing has been unlisted. I will leave a link in the description for posterity. Either way, maybe he should be glad it's unlisted now because Benkar does an awful, terrible job in this interview. He only pitches the most pathetic of softball questions while constantly reassuring and supporting Wabu.
Well, respect for admitting what it was for. Hopefully people will be a little more lenient on that video now. Well, respect to you for taking on that initiative as well.
The questions he asks are conveniently listed in the description. Notice how passive and open-ended the questions about the loot boxes are, not holding Wabu accountable at all. This might even be fine if Benkar ever asked a follow-up question, but he just doesn't. At no point does he raise any moral concerns about introducing a loot box system with the main target demographic being children, nor does he ever question Wabu on the ethics of using someone else's level as a jumping-off point to launch his business. In fact, he seems very on board with this concept himself.
Can't wait to get a orbit extension and you're gonna have different orb plushies.
Orbit extension. Nah, that won't happen, that won't happen.
that would be a good one to bank off of though, because orbit, oh my god. Every short we did on orbit, just 3 million views.
The more I watched this interview, the more I felt the sole purpose of it was to clean up Wabu's public image after he senselessly flushed it down the toilet with his ridiculous investment. He keeps saying how brave Wabu is being for coming on the show and how much he respects him for being open about it, but they're best fucking buddies. Wabu was never in any danger of being critically questioned about his business practices or his creating philosophy or anything at all. This whole interview is just one big circle jerk. It should have been a layup for Wabu, to be honest, but somehow he still managed to fumble it. So what did Wabu have to say in this interview? Hoo boy, where do I even begin? I guess let's start with the most pressing issue, the loot boxes. This is probably one of my most boomer takes, but I think we as a society are way too flippant about the psychological effects of gambling nowadays. I frankly despise gacha games, loot boxes, freemium games, and everything else that falls in that category. And by the way, if you enjoy playing games like that, I'm not here to judge you for that. Please let that be clear. This is coming from someone who fully maxed out their Town Hall level 9 in Clash of Clans, back when 10 was still the highest. If you're deriving value out of these games, that's great for you, and I'm not here to take that away from you, but my problem with them is that they rely on predatory game design, taking advantage of psychological vulnerabilities in the brain to extract money out of the player to turn a profit. And I think that's deeply evil, especially towards children whose brains are still developing. If you ask me, there should be a lot more legal restrictions on these practices. I'm sure Wabu's loot boxes don't violate the law or anything, but I'm not here to debate what's technically considered legal or not. My position is that marketing these loot boxes to children is morally abhorrent. It's very telling then that the primary thing Wabu seems to be concerned with is just the legality.
So the loot box feature, yeah, it's just like a fun way for people to basically obtain a plush. That was the goal behind it. I mean, a lot of people said there was malicious intent behind it to compare it to gambling, but I made sure that was not the case. I mean, after the website was done, I had like lawyers review it. I mean, that's always what you are supposed to do with a brand, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have to check it out.
Yeah. Yes, he made sure to consult with lawyers to make sure everything is by the books, that it doesn't fall under any gambling restrictions by law, but not once did he stop to question if this is an ethical thing to do. Only after receiving massive community backlash did he walk back on this, getting rid of the different rarities and selling the different plushies all for the same price. If people hadn't loudly criticized him for this, he would have gone through with the original plan without a second thought, because he probably genuinely believes he did his due diligence just by talking to some lawyers about it, which is incredibly out of touch and short-sighted. The plushies come up a lot in the interview, much more so than the actual level itself, and I think that's telling. I mean, you're probably suspecting the same thing at this point, that Skeletal Extravagance is just a marketing tool with the sole purpose of selling these plushies to begin with. We can remove all doubt and just listen to Wabu say as much directly.
But yeah, I thought it was like a great way because the level's popular in general. That's also a reason why the extension was made, since it was initially made for the test channel. Yeah, the level just is really fun to watch in general.
Yes, he picked Skeletal Shenanigans because of this graph and no other reason. The level was initially made for his test channel, which is also a soulless money farm. I mean, come on. When asked about the 83 creator tips video, he just says it outright.
Yeah, like the videos that I uploaded on Wabu, like I tried to upload it weekly. That was the goal. It was, yeah, it was mainly for monetary gain. I mean, I like making videos, but it was mainly for the money, which was my main drive.
You can't convince me the same exact thing doesn't apply to the test channel. The way Wabu approaches Geometry Dash levels, and Skeletal Shenanigans in particular, shows how little respect he has for the game. Notice how he says it's a fun level to watch, not play, because he's solely thinking about it as a way of making content out of it. Skeletal Shenanigans is just a vehicle for his brand, his business of selling marketable plushies to children and nothing more. If you still have your doubts about this though, allow Wabu to spell it out for you directly.
I know, like, you also mentioned the levels made for more with a monetary incentive. I'm not sure what incentive mean, but I think there's like with a monetary goal behind it. And that certainly is a goal, of course, since there's a lot invested in the project, which of course needs to be earned back, which is done with the plushies and the level itself. I just wanted to like find a way to be able to make bigger projects eventually and investing in that. Because I mean, that's something I really like doing, just investing a lot of things and making brands like become as big as possible.
Wabu, what are you doing? You're not supposed to act like you're pitching this to a boardroom of investors. You're talking to an audience of real people who actually like Geometry Dash. In fact, for a show that's ostensibly about Geometry Dash, this entire interview felt like I was listening to a tedious finance podcast, constantly talking about brands and money management, complete with condescending financial advice.
The community just can't grasp investing that kind of money into something. And a bit of advice for people watching, you gotta spend money to make money.
There can be no ambiguity here. Wabu is a soulless businessman, a corporate suit with a void for a heart and dollar signs for eyes. He has no passion for the game or this community whatsoever, and only sees it as a jumping off point for his vacuous business ventures, and this interview has made that crystal clear. As someone who actually likes skeletal shenanigans for what it is, I think this is extremely insulting to the legacy of that level. I'm not going to pretend I'm its strongest soldier by any means, but there's something incredibly disgusting about the way it's being so carelessly used as a money-making vehicle, with Yo Reed and Erzi getting the short end of the stick, caught between a landslide of bad publicity while not seeing a penny of compensation. I talked to Yo Reed about this to confirm this, and he says he doesn't want compensation, which I respect of course, but the sticking point here is that he wasn't even asked, which is majorly hypocritical when you're trying to grandstand about giving creators the chance to earn money from their passion.
People mention the monetary incentive a lot of times and think that it's like hard for passion and money to go together, but I honestly do disagree with that, since it just gives like an opportunity for a creator to be able to do what they want to do more without worrying about certain things like finances.
Your claims ring hollow when you don't even try to compensate the main two people you owe the foundation of your business to. It's true, of course, that we live in a society and that we all need to make a living somehow, and I want to make it clear that I don't fault the creators Wabu hired to build the level, but I don't think this business model lends itself to creating good levels. I'm sure it will adequately look like a skeletal shenanigans extension, but it's not going to do anything interesting. An incredibly common tendency in the video game or movie industry nowadays is to take something from the past that worked well and just make it bigger. Better graphics, longer runtime, because bigger equals better. It's an incredibly simplistic concept that spawns out of the heads of out-of-touch studio executives time and time again, and it always results in a mediocre, uninspired product. Now, the same thing is happening to Geometry Dash. Nobody involved in this project has any reason to care about it, because they're all primarily doing it for the money. On top of that, there's little in the way for the creators to give their own spin to it, because they have to stick to a rigid formula for this extension. In that sense, Wabu's claim that he wants to allow artists to be creative without having them to worry about finances fails doubly so, because this level doesn't allow them to be creative. It was conceived with no heart whatsoever. Now, I briefly want to bring up Mindcap's merchandise for a minute, because he catches a few stray shots from Wabu in this interview, citing him as a source for inspiration for his plushies. I need to stick up for Mindcap here, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about him from this video, and I also don't want to imply that you should never try to make money off your creative work. I know Mindcap well enough to know that he's a genuine person who really cares about Geometry Dash and its community. He has an actual creative vision that clearly shines through in his collaborations, and it's important to note that that always takes priority. The brunt of the creative work is spent on creating interesting and fun projects with merchandise that feels thoughtful and relevant, not on building a brand. The merch serves to support his creative projects, and not the other way around. The act of selling merch, or paying creators, or setting up a Patreon is not what kills creativity and authenticity. Greed does. Greed is the death of artistry. Keep in mind that Wabu has been incredibly upfront about his motivations. He spent $115,000 on this level, aiming to turn a profit and launch a business that will live on beyond the release of this level. If he succeeds, next on the chopping block will probably be I Spy. After that, change of scene. Wabu will not stop until he has drained all of the life out of every popular level he can get his hands on. And other venture capitalists will see his success and try to join in on the pillaging. Geometry Dash has become so popular and widespread that we have to be vigilant of vultures like this infiltrating our community. Realize that this didn't come out of nowhere, though. Geometry Dash has had its ups and downs, but it has demonstrated such longevity with such a dedicated fanbase that it was only a matter of time for someone to pull a stunt like this. Frankly, we should have seen this coming. After all, Cherry Team operates under a business structure as well, and they're wildly successful. Levels that prioritize mass appeal are more popular now than ever. It seems that as long as you don't attach an exploitative plushie gacha to it, you can make levels as derivative and uninspired as you want. You can create levels as YouTube content, and people will still widely praise them. The situation on YouTube itself isn't any better, with the godforsaken attention economy in full swing. This community is fertile ground for someone like Wabu to come in and scoop up the obvious business opportunities that represents. Someone a little more shrewd than him might even succeed. I hate to say I told you so, but as always, my opinions are validated tenfold after the fact. Anyway, after all of this, it should go without saying that you should not waste your money on Wabu's plushies. Instead, give it to someone who actually gives a shit about the game and its community. Go buy one of Mindcap's plushies when he decides to do another run, or a Colon plushie. Go buy a Low Death t-shirt. Or, if you're feeling particularly generous, subscribe to my Patreon. Link in the description. Speaking of which, special shoutouts to my grandpa demons on Patreon: Belfry Clock, Crone44, Foxmaker, Omega Omelette, Viva Dude, Nightlight, Zampact, Gerailer, and Cataclysm. Thank you very much for your support, and as always, thanks for watching everybody, and see you later.
Introducing the new Isuzu UX. Take the lead.
When it's not a busy morning, I like to take my time and indulge my breakfast cravings. My all-time favorite? Pancakes with a side of bacon. And when I say bacon, I'm not talking about just any bacon. I'm talking about the good stuff. You know what I'm talking about. It's got the perfect balance of salty and sweet.
Welcome back to the Extra Evident, and today I thought I would try something a little different. I've been playing a lot of Hive Skywars lately, and I don't think it's very good for my mental health, so we're going to play something that will probably be even worse for my mental health. if I can find it. Has anyone heard of this little game called the Garden of Ban? It's essentially Poppy Playtime, but it's terrible. Okay, that's essentially what it is. Also, by the way, if you want to see me play this on this channel, I am super down. I'm not going to play it on my main channel, because it feels like I'm appealing to the wrong audience with that, but if you want to The Minecraft Marketplace has gotten a lot better since the very first map I purchased, but one thing that has stuck around are what I'm calling marketplace scams. There's a lot of stuff that's really overpriced in my opinion, and it doesn't seemingly have a good reason to be. It feels like some of the prices on the marketplace are random, especially when you have two of the exact same map cost drastically different prices. But maybe the prices aren't random. Maybe there's a method to the madness, which is what I'll be testing today. Are these overpriced marketplace packs worth the money, or are they just all scams? And we are gonna look at a map, we're gonna look at a texture pack and an add-on to really, you know, encapsulate the whole marketplace. And I think we're gonna start with the add-on, because it's the least egregious in my opinion. Now, some of these at the top I actually think are pretty decent, but if you scroll a little bit, we got this armor add-on. Very vague. It's $8 and it seemingly just adds armor to the game. And there's a lot of these. As we can see, armor plus plus. It's cheaper. I don't know. Let me look up armor with an add-on thing. There's, yeah. There's so many things on the marketplace that are just armor. That's people love it. And this is seemingly no different. Just adds random armors, but maybe it's like iconic, you know? Maybe this is the best thing ever. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to see if it is. So let's get into it. I'm going to go in creative because we're not playing through the game with it on. We're just checking it out. Turn on cheats, make sure it's on, and let's go. All right. Got a guidebook. I'm really not expecting to have my socks knocked off by any means. Alright, these are all the armors. Introduction, let's see. Provides 25 unique armor sets, most of which have unique abilities you can read about in their respective book pages. Easiest way to get started is to craft the wooden armor set. Alright, what does that do? Okay. I'm assuming this is like the worst kind of armor. This is like Terraria vibes. In Terraria, you can make wood armor. I think it's like barely worse than leather. I can't really tell. You would think wooden armor would be better than leather, though, to be fair. What do we got? Amethyst, bamboo. Whichever one of these really just stick out to me, I'm gonna go for. A wizard. Wizard? There's wizard armor. What does this do? The wizard armor set, once all pieces are worn, provides you with greater range damage while weakening melee attacks. So if I hit something, will it get weakness? Or wait, no. Do I just do more damage from range? That's so lame. I can't lie. So like if I like slash summon warden, can I like one-shot this dude if I'm across the map? 1, 2. This isn't what wizards do. I don't think it works unless I read that wrong. I probably did. I don't know. Let's just kill this dude. He's a little loud, you know? Well, sorry, but well, give me a second. There we go. But, you know, maybe I'm not meant to be a wizard. You know, maybe, oh, it gave me fire prot when I wore it. That's fun. Okay. All right, what else do they have? Let's go for slime. There's slime armor. What's that do? This better give me jump boost. It does. Little jump boost armor. I got you. Don't get any enchants for this one. Yeah, this isn't really that crazy. It's, you know, it was like $8. Keep that in mind. Don't really know if that was worth it, to be fair, but you know what? Maybe I'll witness the greatest thing in history. There is Ender Armor. Ender Armor. I gotta read the book again. Ender Armor set inflicts all nearby players in a 5-block radius with weakness and blindness. That is really broken. That is extremely broken for PvP, but in my setting, it doesn't matter at all, because I'm alone. There's also Warden Armor. I get resistance? Is that all it does? Provides you with resistance, inflicts all nearby entities with weakness and blindness, granting you the element of surprise. So is this chicken blind? You dumb chicken. This guy's blind. You just have to believe me, he's blind right now. A lot of this is like, maybe I should have got a friend for this. What about dragon? This better let me fly, by the way. Oh, that's awesome. it doesn't really work that well, but the idea's there. It kind of bounces off the block. Is that all it does, though? Dragon armor. That uses the dragon egg as one of its material pieces. You are able to fire a fireball when crouching. Yeah, I don't know how useful that is compared... The other ones just seem kind of, like, useful for survival. Let me see. Is there any other ones that really get me going, that get me interested? Frost armor gets me interested. Can I become Frozone? Does this turn... It is Frostwalker. We love that. Kind of all the time Frostwalker, though, might get annoying. Oh, that's actually awesome. Will convert powdered snow into snow. Nearby entities will periodically receive frost damage as if they are in powdered snow. Let's test that. If I go near a little pig, this chicken. Are you about to freeze to death, chicken? I don't... Does this... Oh, it does work. Oh my god. How good is this armor? Game mode S. It's iron armor, but you're frozen, man. They don't really take damage very often, though, with the frozen thing. I don't know how useful that... Oh, he just died. Never mind. Maybe it is cool. These are all, like, great for very specific situations. It's so interesting. Like, the sponge armor makes you a living sponge. That's, like, useful if you're trying to clear an ocean, but, like, any other time, that's not really that useful. I'm just looking through the book here, trying to see if there's any other fun ones. Oh, TNT armor? Come on now. This says anytime something hits me, it blows up, and I get blast protection. Hold on. Game mode S. Let's slash summon a spider and blow it up. You're dead, kid. That's awesome! Slash summon warden.
Medyo mababawasan lang po yung bigay ko po sa inyo. Magpo-propose na po sana ako kay Ana.
Slash summon warden. Okay. So, I forgot that the warden's actually, like, good at the game. Oh, this one's fun. This will be a little final one. Apparently, if I wear this shulker armor, everything around me just randomly levitates. This innocent sleeping fox. Let's traumatize it. Hello, innocent fox. Oh, what's that? That jump scared me, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, are you flying now? Oh, no. Oh, it was a family! No! Come back! Oh, no. Oh, my God, I'm so sorry. It's okay. Yes, go back to sleep. Nothing bad will ever happen. Oh no. Oh my god, it died. You know what? I'm gonna kill the baby. No evidence. That was this little add-on. It wasn't... I mean, we started with it for a reason, right? It wasn't, like, egregious by any means. It wasn't... Like, this isn't bad. I don't think this is, like, badly made or anything. Do I think it's overpriced? I do. $8 is kind of crazy for this. Like, it doesn't really... I don't know. Maybe late game it changes it, but, like... I think the more you charge, the more of the game it should change. You know what I'm saying? Like, a realism craft should be expensive, because that thing's insane. But, like, this, I don't know. And, like I kind of pointed